Hey guys, welcome to the leadership letter and the leadership tip for April. Today, what we're going to focus on, well, for the month is the idea of don't let the tail wag the dog. It's an old idiom, and basically it means a situation where an unimportant part of something or an unimportant person or a group involved in something has way too much influence over it. Now, in the body of Christ, I don't like those terms, unimportant. Everybody's important, right? All members of the church and people that we serve and do family with and do community with, they're all important. That's not the point. The point is you can't let one individual with a certain passion or idea um, railroad or influence you in a way that it is not appropriate. So let me put it this way. In Habakkuk 2:2, we're told, Then the Lord answered me and said, Record the vision and inscribe it on tablets, that the one who reads it may run, or run with it, some versions say. Now, what's the idea there? The idea is that if you look at every single Bible story, you will find a partnership with God and with a leader. And God will reveal to the leader a vision of a better future, a better state, a better whatever, an improvement, right? And God's going to work with this person to improve things, okay? And so God, in the Bible, we have a clear-cut model of God giving a vision to a leader, okay? And that's what Habakkuk's talking about. We give this vision to the leader. It's on the leader to write that vision down. Why? So that others can see it, others can read it, and others can follow that vision and help make it come to pass. Well, in the world of ministry and church and whatnot, I've been doing this a little while now, and I got to tell you, this is a skill or something you need to develop. It's true. You can't let the tail wag the dog. Let me give you an example of one way I avoid this. That's through the area of giving and tithing and people, giving to the church. So, as you all know, I've said this several times, I generally just don't really look at what people give. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm not obsessed about it. And for the most part, I don't want to know, right? Especially specific amounts. Now, the reason I don't want to know is because, say I did know what people gave, and say there was a wealthy benefactor, right? Somebody who's given a lot of money to the church, and I knew about it. And so, say that person wanted something done, right? Say they played the role of the tail and was trying to wag the dog, the church, the ministry here, and said, I really think we should have, I don't know, purple carpets because purple's the color of royalty, and so we want to walk in royalty or some, I've heard crazier things, but you might be surprised. So, what if I then reject that and say, God didn't give me a vision for grape carpet. I'm sorry. I understand purple's a royal color, but that's not the vision God gave me, and we're just don't feel comfortable going there, and that's not what I want to do. I don't give way to that, but then maybe I do because that person might threaten to say, well, if we don't put in this royal purple carpet, then I'm going to leave. I'm going to pull out, and the church isn't going to have my money. Now you see my point, right? That's the temptation of letting the tail wag the dog. If they try to exert themselves like they have more influence than they really do. And you can't be afraid of that. You can't lead out of fear. You can't lead out of fear that they're going to pull their money, right? They're going to grab their toys and leave the sandbox. They're going to leave the church. Or you can't lead out of fear that they're going to say bad things about you. Guess what? It's going to happen. If you're in leadership, you can guarantee there's a percentage of people just not going to like what you're doing, not going to like your decisions, not going to care for it, and that's just the way it goes. So, a real example of this would be I can remember a time when we were doing the community center, and I was approached by someone who had a vision, who had an idea of the community center, and they wanted to perhaps name this community center after someone who had passed away. And it wasn't like it was a bad intent or a bad idea, but this person had means, financial means. And it wasn't necessarily stated, but there certainly was this kind of idea, unspoken thought that perhaps if I were to be inclined to name the center after this person's deceased relative, that there would be certain funding to come that way and help bring the vision to pass in the community center. Now, on the surface, you might look at that and go, sweet. we need funds to complete this community center. But I can clearly tell you my vision was never to have the community center named after anybody in that way. We've talked about it. We thought it's not where we're going with this. The community center is about the community, not about any one individual. Okay, and so in that sense, I could have let the tail wag the dog. I could have been given into temptation for perhaps the money there, but no, we didn't, and I didn't, and we politely kind of just declined and moved on, and God took care of us, right? To the tune of $100,000 came in, and we built that place debt free. So you got to trust God in this. You can't lead out of fear. Now, this doesn't give you license to be some kind of narcissistic megalomaniac. That's not what I'm saying, right? You need to allow people to have voice in your life, right? You need to have good, solid biblical advisement. No question about it. And you want to invite that in your life. You're not going to be right on everything. You're not. You're going to need to listen to other people, right? But when it comes to the vision of the ministry or the thing that you're leading, right, you've got to hear from God what the vision is. Check it and recheck it and vet it with people you trust and love, but then you put that thing to tablet, right? You write that vision down, and you don't deter from it, right? You have your mission, and you run new ideas and thoughts and things that people throw at you. You run it through the funnel of the mission. That's important, okay? And you got to vet that stuff out. But seriously, don't ever be afraid of people, and you cannot lead out of fear. It's a recipe for disaster. You can't be afraid of people leaving. You can't be afraid of people talking bad about you. You can't be afraid of people taking their money and running or whatever else they do, okay? God didn't call us to live with a spirit of fear, all right? He called us to not be afraid of people and to be strong leaders and to trust that we've heard from him. So I want to challenge you in your area of leadership, in your area of ministry. Don't let the tail wag the dog. There's no need for it. Have a great April, guys.